Like the fun of other things that we all wish we could afford. And when we dance, I fall until I lose it all. It's so clean, you know what I mean? All my aces riding with me, yeah, yeah. I'm out here styling, I'm styling. I room for presidents, room for queens. All operations rocking my sleeves, yeah, yeah. We're out here wildin'. I'm the one they all wanna celebrate, yeah. If you're coming, better keep up at my pace, yeah. Cause we only got one life to elevate, yeah. It's a party, whatever we gotta pay for. Oh, lucky, just a little bit rough. And when you tell me not to ever give up. I'm the one they all wanna celebrate, yeah. If you're coming, better keep up at my pace, yeah. Cause we only got one life to elevate, yeah. It's a party, whatever we gotta pay for. Elevate, yeah, elevate, yeah. Living life, gotta get a taste, yeah. Elevate, yeah, elevate, yeah. Living life, gotta get a taste, yeah. It's so clean, you know what I mean? All my aces riding with me, darling. I'm styling. A room for presidents, room for queens.
The world's best gather here. XBL baseball starts now.
It's crushed to the moon, and we're tied.
Picks it up on the second. Over to first in time for the double play that ends the inning.
That's gone.
Oh my, oh my, oh my.
Trying to repeat.
It's good!
And Howard to the pen! This game is over!
Oh! Crushed! Left field! Off the pole!
Domingo Bell, deep right center field, carrying, and it's gone.
That was hit hard. Left center field. Did she do it again? To the wall!
Swung on Bell to the deep left field. Is this baby gone? A grand slam!
Champion! The AAA World Series is over on a live shot.
I can't believe my eyes.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another production here of the Cross-Platform Baseball League. We are live tonight with our Season 17 playoff preview show. Much anticipated bracket predictions from all of us here at the round table. We're starting off with Uni here by my side, my fellow broadcast partner, my fellow XBLer and XBL playoff member. How you doing tonight, Uni?
What's up, Dwayne? What's up, everybody behind the scenes? We got a lot of people in the booth tonight and a lot to talk about, so I think it's going to be really exciting. This is always my favorite show of the season, getting to do the preview and try to make some predictions and then see how it turns out. So it's going to be fun.
Yes, indeed. It's always a bit of a wild one here as we bring about our playoff hot takes, talk about who our champions might be, what this series might look like as we finally get to see who's playing who in all three leagues here, except the double is still a little bit up in the air, but we've got some round robin to go over. And speaking of that round robin, the man who's the biggest fan of the round robin is with us as well tonight. It is Mystery Man, the AAA, AA aficionado, having his best ever AAA season. Top of the AAA right now, ready to get his series started, I'm sure soon enough, chomping at the bit. How you doing tonight, Mist?
Feeling pretty good. Loving to see the round robin. Loving everything about AA this season. It's really been, I think anybody who's been in the XBL thought we'd see all kinds of dropouts, and they were more steady than AAA by far. So a lot of action going on there. Pretty excited here for tonight.
Yeah, and tonight as well, something else we have to be excited about. For the first time, we're bringing another new member into our booth. One of the freshest XBLers At least this season, he's a former XBLer and a former now AAA champion. Didn't quite make the playoffs this season, but makes an appearance here on the playoff show with us tonight. It's Latanimal. Welcome to the booth, dude. How you doing tonight? How you feeling?
Hey, Dwayne, thanks. Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on this evening. It's a great time of the season. A lot of hype to be shared in. Yeah, we Habaneros just missed out by, I think a game, might have been a playoff or a play-in game with Raider, if my math was right, but didn't shake out that way for us. But just really excited for this time of season. So thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Zlat's already done a bunch of behind-the-scenes work as well, compiling tons of playoff scenarios, tons of stats and milestones and things for us that are going to tie into the upcoming season awards show. So thank you as well for jumping into things definitely head first. And we're going to go head first tonight into the show. We've got some final standings and ranking movement for each league. We've got playoff predictions as we've promised, and then a little bit of follow-up on the hot takes we gave you at the start of the season. So without further ado, let me make sure I get my windows up and get my music going. We'll have everything shared to my colleagues, and we'll be starting off right now with some season movement in the AA. We're going to be taking it away with Uni and Mist here, starting things off.
Hey, you go first, Mist. Is he here? Okay.
Oh, that was my bad, Uni. I got this. Yeah, so Masshole's on top here in the power rankings. The Travelers and Mercenaries looking really good. And I personally really like MC Vibraphone, as well as I like the Icebirds and SWAT. SWAT made an extremely late move and was the #1 seed. And then we had some craziness out of the Rockers at the very bottom. What do you see, Uni?
Yeah, we've got, like you said, the Rockers making noise. They're already 2-0 in that round robin. And that shows, like we all thought and like we've talked about much throughout the season, the ego difference and how that's going to play in the late season. And you see teams get a big rise, like the Travelers, like the Mercenaries, moved up a lot in the season rankings. And then you've got some dangerous teams in the middle that, if you look at it across the board, there was movement from the beginning of the season to the end in the 3 to 6 range pretty commonly. So it shows that a lot of these guys changed over time. A lot of these guys improved or got passed up by the end of the season. And it's shown that AA's proven to be really competitive and pretty even, more even than some people might have expected.
Yep.
This league with the new ego change calculator that Wishbone implemented before the season means that the parity was really unseen in the AA, and across the board I think everyone can be happy with where they finished and where they're jumping into this round robin. We're going to jump over now to that round robin here and take a look. Give me 1 minute to flip this over to my pals. The round robin here into the AA is already in progress. We've got 2 players that are luckily already through here in Group B that Mystery Man and Unicorn can go over. And then we've got progress going on in Group A while our top 4 seeds await.
You go, Uni.
Yeah, like you said, we got the top 4 seeds still waiting, but AA started a week ago, so we've got some action we can talk about. And what's been really proving to mean a lot in that Group A is, like I said, the ego. There's a guy at 60 right there with the Stampede, and the Rockers, who are at the bottom of the standings, are 2-0 at 64 ego, and they got a good run differential. They look like someone that they just get 1 win, and they're probably a lock for moving on. And meanwhile, everyone pretty much but the Beavers right now, they have a fine chance of moving on. 2 people move through Group A. And in Group B, you see the SWAT are eliminated, and the Space Cows, who had a really strong rookie year and were at the top of the standings for a lot of the season. But Group B proven to be a little more difficult, it looks like, whenever you get four teams instead of 5. You can't lose as many. So it was a good season from both of those guys and SWAT and the Space Cows. But the Paladins and Pelicans are moving on out of Group B, and I guess we do have 2 of the 4 set.
Yeah. One thing about AA, and I think you and Mr. Clutch and a few others, Burning Ice, and Barry back at the time, experienced as these lower players can really learn fast. And sometimes what's going on at the beginning of the season doesn't really hold a lot of water, and I think we've seen some of that. I really like the 2, 3, and 4 seeds to win it all. But if you're looking for, a dark horse, the Rockers just being on such a low ego and then really taking off in the round robin. I mean, it's hard to bank on a round robin team, but it's pretty wild to have that kind of an RD. And then I do like the Icebirds pretty well, and then the Stampede are stampeding. So a little bit hard to predict. I don't really like the mass holes. I like the owner himself really, really well, but I'm just not sure. I think this is the year of maybe the Mercs or the Travelers or maybe some crazy upset.
Yeah, there's a ton of potential upset energy here. You feel it in the AA, like these two alluded to, with those low seeds getting their way through and almost through as well in Group A. Still plenty of action to be had. The top fours loaded with pure ball players. They're definitely going to be making their way up in these leagues. So the AA, we'd love to see it this season. This is probably the most competitive and best iteration we've ever had. So thank you all for making it happen, and good luck to all of you in the rest of those playoffs. I'm going to flip things over now back to the AAA. Give me a moment to switch my screens.
Hang on.
Uh-oh.
Can we get a quick pick on who we think's going to win? We don't need to pick every game, but let's pick who we think's going to win it.
I'm sorry, I did not realize we didn't get those in.
To do it.
Yeah, so you're going first.
Yeah, the screen went down for me, but I think I still see it on Twitch. See, when it comes to picking the winner on this, I think it's tough for the right side of the bracket because Travelers and Mercenaries would be my two favorites to pick to win it, but they're going to have to meet before they can get to the championship, so that knocks one of them out. And so I think on that side, either round robin team is probably going to lose the first round, and then I've got the Mercs, I think, beating the Travelers the way he's been playing late in the season. Just those teams that get hot late in the season, we've seen it before. They can make runs in the playoffs. So I've got Mercenaries on that side. Then comp side versus the mass holes, that's one where you might actually see an upset from a round robin team. I think if the Stampede or the Icebergs get in there, they could make something happen and beat either of those guys. But I think the mass holes have the most complete game, so I'm going to pick them to advance all the way through. Play the Mercenaries. I would pick the Mercenaries. I think it's a 6 or 7 game series, and I think it's some really close but high scoring games. Both these guys have great bats. Mercenaries averaged 6 per, and the mass holes 8 per, so that'd be a really fun matchup. And I would pick the rookie Mercenaries as much as I love Sham and getting in the booth with them. Mercenaries seem a little too hot going into the playoffs.
Yeah, I really like Vibraphone Comp Sci on the left side. I think that's a finalist, no matter who comes out of the round robin or who he plays. I'm really torn between the Mercs and the Travelers. That's a tough call. I'm gonna go with Johnny. I think there's been a couple of strange upsets, but I think overall Johnny's been slightly more consistent. So I'm gonna go with Johnny and the Travelers with that incredible logo making the finals, and from there, wow, that's really tough. I'm just gonna stick with my guy Vibraphone to win it all.
So Mist's got ComSci 101. And how many games?
What was it, best of 7? Probably all 7.
7. Okay, so Mist's got 7 in the AA. Can I reconfirm again who Uni had winning in his? It was the Mercs and the Mass Holes. In how many games?
Merc. We went opposite picks.
So you're going Mercs.
Yeah, I'm going Mercs. Makes me feel bad when Mist picks the other side, but Mist knows his stuff.
6, 7, 5, 4. How many games?
Oh, I think we'll go 6. It's going to be 6 or 7, I think, for sure.
Okay, I just wanted to get it out loud and in writing out there for your guys' picks. So again, thank you guys for getting in there, getting into the nitty gritty. This league is definitely by far the hardest to predict with so many wild card type players in it. So we'd love to see who's going to come out in the end. We could all be totally wrong here, and I wouldn't be surprised if we are. It's going to get a little bit more predictable now as we jump into the AAA. Let's start with the movement in the power rankings there, and we're going to bring Zlot into things. It'll be Zlot and Mist going over this one. And let me switch over to the Streamlabs window, and I think, Zlot, if you want to take us away, let us know what you think of the movement you see here in this season's AAA.
Yeah, another great season. Maybe some hiccups with the dropouts. That's unfortunate, but a lot of people that can hold their heads high. There's a lot of parity with a lot of splits across the league. So, I mean, of course, the Black Roses kind of, I don't know, maybe just easily the most improved. Put a lot of firepower out there, but everyone else is kind of, looking to take advantage of what they can get. Maybe try to get ahead earlier in their series. I think Billy Banquo, the Mighty Mallard, just kind of, that's probably the biggest surprise to me. I believe they're a rookie this season, right? So didn't know what to expect, and then as the season played out, their bats were banging, and they really made a name for themselves. So I think they'll be a team to watch out for here in the playoffs.
Yeah, 11 places of movement. Mystery Man, take it away.
Yeah, Billy's dangerous. The Mighty Mallards is that's the one wild card that it's a little bit hard to fully understand what we have in our hands here with him and his offense, which was far better than other than Snow, was far better than the field. Pitching was a little bit shaky, but not terrible. The help deskers seem to be getting hot at the right time, which is always something to watch. And the Stars have played. I didn't think the Stars were going anywhere, but now it looks a little bit different than that. Dinger's really playing well. The Rays, of course, have the pedigree, and then don't sleep on the Gex. Even more than the Matrix, I think, which I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think Burning Ice even more dangerous, because the pitching is of a certain variety that can. This is going to be the Von Asen, no question, in AAA, and I think the bat is shaky. The bat is definitely shaky, but he is streaky and can get that going. So, if I'm going to pick a wild upset, I think Gex is the one.
Yeah, beautiful thing here about AAA too. Everybody's in. This entire group from top to bottom is going to have a chance to duke things out. And another thing that really stands out to me is just the sheer number of high power rankings for all these players that are all within the top 8, let alone top 5. Like Ed, Snowbird, and Ricks all ranking number 1 at some point this season. Mist all the way up to number 2. The Stars at number 3. Elron peaking at number 4. Banquo in there. The Gex up in the number 7 range, and Matrix really bouncing between 5 and 8 the entire season, even though he finished the season in 10th place. So that's, what people definitely think of a player of his caliber. So this has been a really interesting AAA group. It may not be the most talent packed from top to bottom of AAA's past that we've seen, but I think this group in a playoff where everybody's making it and everybody's got a shot is going to bring you some of that sweet parity juice that we love to talk about here in the XBL. So without further ado, I'm going to flip things over to the bracket. Let me switch over that window real fast, and we can take it back over to Zlot again. If you want to start off with that left side of the black bracket where the Black Roses lead us off with that first round bye, let us know a couple of predictions here for you. And then flip over to the right side and then let us know, who your champion's going to be, and maybe the highlight series is for you tonight.
Great. Yeah, we know Snowbird's taking the week off. I think that was an LO paid vacation. Is that right?
Absolutely. Well deserved. After all the beatings that were also,
XBL.
Well taken. Right. Yeah, Black Roses get a week off here, but really can't sleep. Probably need to put in a lot of BP because you got Ricks or Gex to face next, and I think that's just a real coin flip of a matchup. As Mist alluded to, the Ceraces have the pedigree. Gex probably get the Von Asen this season, so I'm really loving to see that matchup, whoever comes out to play Snowbird there. The bottom left, we got a couple of good teams again as well. I think the Seawolves maybe aren't happy with their final placement at the end of the season on the table, but I kind of have them as a sleeper pick. I think the offense can really get rolling, and if it is, whoever's pitching needs to watch out. The good thing for Heisman is he has that strength in pitching, so that'll be a fun series to keep an eye on. We got the Help Deskers and Piranhas. I mean, that's another good one. That'll be coming down to the pitching. I'm not even really sure who I'd pick there, although I'll say for the sake of talking about it, the bottom left quadrant, I'll take Heisman. I think the pedigree and the baseball IQ comes in. You know, the pitching style and cadence, knowing what to do and when. I think that would be solid. If we were to kind of finish out the left side, I mean, it's hard to bet against Snowbird right now. I don't think there's been many weaknesses, and even if there were any, the offense is just almost too much to deal with. So I'm going to slot the Black Roses in from the left side. Switching gears a little bit, we'll go to that right side up there with Eddie and the River Pirates. On paper, a 2-15 seems pretty straightforward, but I don't know. There's something about just Eddie's play style. Sometimes his bats are really hot and streaky, and sometimes he's winning games by like 1 run, 2 runs. So he certainly has the skill to advance. There's no question there. He's shown time and time again he can do that, but I think he's going to have to stay a little cautious and not get too ahead of himself early. The Dingers and Matrix, we got a lot of offense on one team and not so much on the other, but tries to make up for that with the pitching there. I want to give the experience edge to the Matrix, and I love Spliff. I love, you know, his personality and the streams and everything, but I think I'm gonna go with the Dingers there and the sort of seed expectation there to advance. I think the offense is gonna pick up, and maybe seeing Eddie and the Dingers in the top right there, that would be a fun matchup to keep an eye out for. Moving on, we have Mist and Finite. You know, it's hard again to bet against Mist, fellow booth advocate here. We know Finite's probably also maybe not had his season live up to his expectations, but you know, Mist has really kind of improved season over season. Shown that again here, finishing 3rd, so a lot of positives for Mist Inc., and I think that'll continue here in the playoffs for him. We got Billy Banquo and Diesel as the final bottom right matchup there. We already talked about Billy Banquo's success, and that doesn't really seem to be slowing down at all. But Diesel is not to be taken lightly, so that could be a little closer than, you know, some might think. I could see that going the distance. I don't have it off the top of my head here, but do you guys actually happen to know, did he go to 5 games? Was it last year or last season in the playoffs? Do you recall, Mist? Yeah, I don't recall immediately, but again, just to say that.
Okay. Yeah, not sure about that.
It's okay. But yeah, Diesel, definitely a respectable opponent. Ultimately, to meet Snowbird in the finals, I think I'm gonna have to go with Mist. I mean, there's just a lot of positives for him to keep rolling on into. I think he knows a lot of the opponents pretty well. He could take advantage and sort of exploit some of their weaknesses. And the Black Roses and Mist Inc. would be one heck of a fireworks show here for the AAA World Series.
Wow.
Yeah. Good analysis is that. Yeah, looking at the top right now, I think Las Cerezas is a bad matchup for the Gex. I don't like that matchup for the Gex, so I'm gonna go with let's see, if it ends up being Snowbird versus Las Cerezas, I'm going with Snow there because I think the offense is just too powerful. The Seawolves are far better than people think they are. There's almost no separation between the Seawolves and the Stars, to the point where I'm going to take the Seawolves in that matchup. The Help Deskers have the highest upside, other than Snow, on the left side bracket. So I'm going to go with the Deskers, but the Piranhas, and I'm going to already say the same for the Wise Guys. These people will not be swept. So you're going to have to fight through some of these veterans if you're going to really get going. And then Deskers versus Snow, and then Snow into the finals. And then on the right side, I think the Searles are just too good to lose to the River Pirates, who are somewhat of a similar team. But I do think Eddie's offense, even though it is a touch streaky, and he does do the contact hitting, I don't think this has really been the year of the Pirates. I think he's had some good runs, as he always does, but I'm going to go with Ed there. And then I'm going to go with the Dingers, only because I think the Dingers have a massive upside, kind of like the Help Deskers. So if the Dingers go in there, and then myself, I'm going to go with myself moving forward. And I don't think the Wise Guys can withstand the firepower of the Mallards. But again, the Wise Guys not going to get swept. But especially with all that pitching that Diesel has, it's going to be awfully tough to win a series, though, against somebody with as good of an eye as Billy. And then if you get to a finals, I'm gonna.
Give me Ed.
I don't know. I mean, those four that are left are really, really tough. I think the right side is a lot tougher than the left, other than the upside of the Help Deskers, and of course Snow. But if you put Snow in the finals automatically, then I'm gonna go with Ed just on experience to make the finals. Probably gonna. Let's say Ed versus Mist, and then it could be Billy, but let's just say Mist, and then Ed versus Snow in the finals. And then if that happens, Snow's going to win it.
How many games? You think I go 7 again and loses again?
5 games. 5.
Ooh. That gets a gentleman's sweep, which he also suffered once before as a runner-up. I think he would be would he be a 3-time runner-up if this was the case? I believe he would.
Yeah, I think there's better. I think there's worse matchups for Snow than playing Ed. As good as Ed is, this is a league of matchups.
Absolutely. And then Zlat, you said it was Snowbird versus, wasn't it Mystery Man in the finals, right?
I did, yeah. Although you guys, what you were just talking about is Ed's performance against the top teams. He performed really well. So I think we should not understate Ed's ability there for sure. But just wanted to point out his success there against some of those top teams.
Yeah. Do you have a game prediction in that Mist versus Snowbird potential series for you, if that were to take place?
I would say Snowbird in 6.
In 6? So we have some interesting predictions here tonight. The AAA brings you a ton of parity. I looked myself at that right side, and splitting hairs really, especially, we talk a lot about Ed. We're lauding Ed tonight, but he's got to get out of a 5-game series against the River Pirates, who can keep him down to 2 runs, a 2-1 game. So that's the type of thing that, some guys don't want to walk into in the playoffs. We'll see how that all goes. But this is a really interesting group we've got here. And now we can jump back up again and go over our 3rd league of the night. We're going to bring Uni back into the mix to go over the XBL, so allow me to switch a couple things up and bring him back into the fold. We can start off with him once I flip the screen over, and we'll look at the XBL power rankings movement this season, including that playoff cutoff line where me and Zlat here tonight are hanging out from the outside looking in. We've got Uni, though, in the mix. So what do you think of this list?
The list, I think the top 6 or so is pretty much what we expected, and you can see by the standings, other than the Ox being ranked 8 that very first week, the entire top 6, it doesn't show it right there, but none of them dropped out from week 2 on. The top 6 was set pretty much the entire season with some minor movement in between them, but I think they're exactly what we expected them to be, and they're the obvious top 6 in the league going into the playoffs. And then it really was divided into a few groups across the XBL, and people saw that coming to fruition late in the season with a lot of movement just among 3 or 4 teams in these little pockets like I just said, the top 6. And then you have from the Curse down to about the Base Bandits by the end of the season. Really like a 6-team race that was fighting for 9 all the way down to 12 seed, or I'm sorry, 7 down to 12 seed. And obviously out of all those people, No Name got the most disrespect. I think he actually started last in the rankings and did that late season push, moved all the way up. If we ranked him today, he might even be ranked higher than that where he's finishing. And then from me down, we had a lot of competition we saw in the standings, a lot of people fighting for the playoff cutoff, and a lot of the same as it was for those other 2 groups. Some minor movement in between from 14 down, but overall, I mean, there was 5 or 6 people in the last week with a few games in hand that had a shot, and that's what you want in a league, is to have the vast majority stay in the race as long as they can. I think for some in the XBL, where sometimes you see top dogs in a very opposite extreme bottom of the league, this year was relatively even. About 16 of the teams were able to stay in the fight till the end, so it was a good season for parity. And of course, I'm glad I snuck in with some help of some splits there at the end.
Yeah, we'll take it over to Zlat now, who's back in the XBL after winning that AAA championship last season. Is this your sophomore or 3rd season in the XBL?
That's a good question. I believe it would be my 3rd season.
Wishbone knows. We both might forget, but he knows.
Yeah. But yeah, glad to be back. A lot of good talking points there by Uni. I think we're glad to see Uni make it in as well with some of those results there at the end, helping him out a little bit. But also just a lot of good talking points about the parity, about kind of the groupings of the maybe top, middle, and bottom tier teams. You know, I think as you alluded to with No Name, I mean, he did get a lot of flack and it was probably deserved, but at the end of the day, he came to play and he put his own name there in the playoffs. He took his chances, and I think he'll be a bit unlucky to come up against Mama, but yeah, a lot of good series here to look forward to.
Yeah, all these series to look forward to. We're about to go over next. Once I flip these guys over, this XBL season is as competitive as any, and 2 players are getting buys this season. That is Lazy and Flash, and those 2 lauded as favorites here early on. We'll start off on that left side of the bracket, like we did for the AAA, and then Uni, tell us what you got. I mean, we've already got a little bit of action started, but mostly here, things are completely wide open. Might be muted, bud.
Yeah, sorry about that. 1 and 2 seed Lazy and Flash, kind of like we predicted at the beginning of the season. The only interesting thing to really note there is that Flash is the 2 seed, but did sweep Lazy during the season. So the 1 and 2 seed pretty much identical in this situation, if not a little edge to the Flashertons based off what we saw in their series. Then there's good matchups 8 and 9. Those middle seeds, like I said, those pockets are just going to come to show in nearly every bracket. You got the Stags and Dog Pound who were back and forth, and Hummus and his power versus M. Bennings. That M. Bennings Dog Pound team very quietly made his way into the Von Acing conversation. If you really look at the stats for the season, he's no doubt in the top 3 and has a chance to even win the Von Acing. So that is really a tough matchup, I think, for someone like Hummus, who relies so heavily on the bat, to face someone who had a Von Acing type season. But I think I would pick the Dog Pound the way they've been playing lately to go up against Lazy in that next round on that one. And then at the 4 and 13, this is the bottom tier versus the top tier, like we're going to see in a lot of these games. Me versus Pseudo. It's going to be incredibly frustrating, incredibly difficult. He gets kind of a good matchup for him because he's someone that I think can get upset if it's someone that exceeds at hitting off speed, but it's something I really struggle with. So you obviously, anyone would be silly to not take the Bombos against me after going 28 and 8 or whatever they did, and I just snuck in. I'm going to try to get 1 game off him, but Pseudo has been in the semifinals before. Then Civ and Base Bandits. The Civilization are pretty crazy. They're in the Von Acing conversation, and they're in the Lombardo Award conversation. So they're obviously insane, and I'm surprised they're even a 5 seed. Maybe let some games slip that they shouldn't have. But as well as No Name played late season, I don't think there's any way he gets past Mama. So I'd have Mama and the Bombos right there in the bottom left. Flash is probably going to face, looking at that game earlier between the set between Vegan and Mush, I think Vegan looks really good at the plate right now, and his pitchers are just really tough to face in a 5-game series because they're all A+. So I would take Vegan in that series, and another really close one because they're both middle-tier teams. That's why these middle-tier matchups are going to be really hard to predict. Then the Astronauts, once again, another Von Asen team. I've got him, the Civilization, and him Binnings as the top 3, and that's what gets you through in the playoffs, and that's a really tough matchup for someone like Dark Raider, who already doesn't score much, and now he's playing, I believe, the guy with the #1 whip in the league this season, and also another really strong rotation. So top 4 you got to take pretty much in every bracket. Holograms and Spokesman is a very sneaky one. This is where I would look to maybe see an upset. Ox is in that top 6 range, and he has been all season. Obviously, he's 6, which means the lowest of that top tier. And meanwhile, the Spokesman kind of fell off late in the season, but if they can find that rhythm back to what they had, they were really scary at the plate. Pitching was a problem, but really scary at the plate. I still don't think they can make it past Ox, though. Ox has got that veteran presence, and he's played so many leagues, and he started so hot. I think Ox is going to win, but I think that's a 5-game series. That's the only 5-game series I see in the quarterfinals. You want me to go all the way, or?
You can at least give us a quick semi on each side, and then let us know who goes through that and who you got winning.
All right, well, top left, Lazy, of course. Hard to pick against Lazy, no matter who makes it there. I think he's going to make it through, and be really pretty impossible to even get a game or 2 off of. And then Pseudo and Mama is a crazy series. I think I would pick Mama in that one because he's more consistent at hitting, and his pitching is better than Pseudo's in terms of build. On the left side, I would pick Lazy to make it back to the championship, as much as I think Mama's probably a top 2 or 3 threat to Lazy. I think Lazy's just too good. If you look at the batting stats, he's far and above everyone else. I think give me the Flashertons against Vegan because the Flashertons are the 2 seed, and I think they have the best chance to stop Lazy. Then Ox and Wishbone. I think Wishbone makes it to the semifinals in that one. I think that one goes 5 games. Going to be really tough, but Wish is too much to handle for Ox. Then Lazy and that Flash and Wish is a tough pick, man. That's tough, but Flash seemed like he fixed his computer or whatever the heck he was talking about, and ever since then he's been going pretty bananas. So I'm going to pick Flash, and that's going to give us an incredibly interesting, and I think the most appealing finals matchup we could get for the XBL, because it's the only person that swept Lazy, I think, and that doesn't happen often. So Flash versus Lazy in the finals, and it's been a battle for a record in terms of trophies, but give me Lazy again to get another trophy and surpass Flash and break that tie for kind of the GOAT conversation.
So you got Lazy winning 5x. How many games do you think they play?
Give me, I think it's going to go all 7. I know last season Flash struggled, but Lazy and 7.
Pretty intense. Yeah, I mean, Flash versus Wish is the OG / League Office World Series in and of itself. So, you know, seeing that would be pretty insane. But I like your picks. Pretty interesting upsets, pretty good call-outs on some of these 5-game series potentials, and now we'll flip it back over to Zlat on the left side of the board once again and see what he thinks of how things are lining up. He's got even less stake in the game, so maybe even more objective, maybe got another interesting take on things.
Maybe, yeah, I don't know, objective, spicy, we'll see, we'll see as I go through them here, but Stags, Dog Pound, I think this is probably the series to highlight in the first round. I think, you know, judging from the regular season series that they had, where the Dog Pound they swept the Stags, but it was both 1-run games. The first game was 1-0, and then the second game was 7-6 in extras. So I think, given the given the pedigree, both of those players, you know, very respectable, very, very good on their day. I could see that going 5, and I would have M. Bennings and the Dog Pound advancing to play lazy. Sliding down to that next matchup with Spluto and Uni. You know, Uni already alluded to how he thinks it might go. I kind of agree. I think getting a game off of Spluto would be successful. I could see Uni pushing it to 5, but ultimately I see Spluto coming out ahead there. Mama and No Name. I think Mama he understands the game. He's not going to fall for any tricks. He's going to be able to take care of business. So I have Mama advancing there. We got Mush and Vegan on the other side, already at 1-1. I could see that series going 5 as well. Ultimately, I'm going to give the edge to Mush. I think he's just a bit more well-rounded, but definitely still a close series there. The next series there with Wish and Raider, that one is also really interesting. That's probably the second series that I would highlight in the first round, based off of their performance there in the season series. They actually split. It was game 1 Astronauts 2-1, and game 2 was the Harfang 3-1, which means the Harfang held the Astronauts to only 3 runs. I think that's super, super interesting. Wish is going to have his hands full with the pitching staff that Raider brings. I don't know how many games it'll go, but I do think the overall skill is going to edge in Wish's favor there, so we have the Astronauts advancing. Lastly, we got Ox against the Spokesman there. I probably share the same sentiment as Uni. I think I could see Ox advancing, but another close series, a very, very strong rookie season there out of the Spokesman, and they could pull off the surprise. I don't think that would be anywhere near out of the conversation. If we want to flip back to a semi-finalist on the left side there, I think Lazy just kind of advances. I don't really have much else to say. I think he's just going to kind of overpower and make his way into the semifinals. More interesting, though, with Spluto and Mama. I think Mama brings a lot to the table that Spluto will kind of struggle to contain over that 5-game series. So I don't know how many games it'll go, but I do have Mama advancing there to face Lazy. And I'm going to finish out my left side here. I'm going to predict that Mama pulls off the left side bracket challenge, and we'll see Mama Junjun and the Civilization in the World Series this season. Hopefully 7 games for all the entertainment value, but I think he has the skill. I think we'll see some new blood there, and maybe a change of the guard, if you will. Let's go back over there to Flash and Mush, another banger of a series. I think Flash has definitely got the edge. You know, his pitching is kind of understated sometimes because of how many runs he can put across the plate, but I will give Flash the advantage, which leaves us with Wish and Ox, and I will share the sentiment of Uni that I think the Astronauts will be too much for the Ox to deal with, and we'll see a Flash Astronauts semifinals, bringing me to the conclusion of Flash advancing. I think they had Flash and Wish had a really entertaining series there at the end of the season, but Flash edged that one out, and they did split actually, but I don't know. I mean, just all the rings that Flash has, his performance has been pretty consistent this season, finishing at 2. So we'll make our final prediction here with the new blood that I'll continue with that storyline. We'll see Mama win in 7. My call.
Okay. Wow. I love it. I got a little creative there. I hope everybody enjoyed that as well. In the meantime, you know, really astute takes here from Zlot, first time in the booth as well. Thank you for those. And great stuff from Uni as well. You know, going for the five Pete showdown. There's 2 really good storylines there that, you know, could possibly come out of that in those predictions, and even other storylines that might come through as well. I mean, you know, the Dog Pound got picked twice. You know, the Stags could just as easily win a series like that. Uni's down on himself. He's not sure if he's going to beat Spluto. Spluto sometimes only scores 2 runs, or maybe even 1, and maybe you can beat him. And he only beat me 1-0, so I was pretty bad. The Civilization and the Base Bandits, I mean, No Names himself, and if he loses 3 straight Mercy rules, a lot of people might not be surprised, but I also wouldn't be surprised if he wins a series like that. I'm just kind of going through these real quick. The Curse of the Rhubarbs are already in progress. That's definitely going 5 games in my book, like everybody else just said. And I really can't call it, but I'm going to go with my runner-up from AAA my season. That was Mush. Vegan, though, really tough player with a really tough rotation. Astronauts in the Harfang, hard to go against the Knots, but like Zlat said, he did get beat by Raider, one of the few players who did handle Wish pretty well. That's another one that could go 4 or 5 games, depending. Could be a frustrating series for our man Wishbone. I think he goes through that one. And the holograms and the spokesman, I do love my man Ox, but there was something about Spaceman Spumoni that absolutely made me shit my pants and scared me when I played him. It almost made me want to just like fold the entire season because I just wasn't expecting how good he was going to be. And it just totally, he was just so good. And I was like, this guy, if he's not top 10, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. And he finished in the top 10. So what do you know? Well, at least in the 11th, but he was sitting top 10 for a hot minute. He's not there on run differential and definitely would be by, bat factor. So I'm picking the spokes. All the way through, though, I'm going for Flasherton's World Series on the right side. He's probably going to play Lazy, but if he doesn't play Lazy, he's playing Mama June. But I'm picking my OG. I'm not going to go through all the typing. I want the Flasherton's number 5 against Lazy. And give it to me in 5 games, just so you can show him how it's done. But yeah, that's the XBL for you. We've gone through that pretty quickly, and I thank everybody, all 3 of my booth mates here, for their contributions on all 3 leagues. We're going to quickly go over some hot takes.
Can I do a quick take here?
Oh, absolutely you can. Yeah, thank you. Please.
Yeah, Zlat kind of stole my thunder here, but I'm just going to throw in a couple real quick chuck-ins. Holograms are not losing to the spokesman. As great as a season as the spokesman have had, the holograms are moving through. I don't know where to, but my other take is I don't predict that Mama June beats Lazy on the left side, but if Mama June beats Lazy, then Babylon has fallen, and nobody on the right side is going to beat him. So, sort of in line with Zlat, except I'm not sure Mama Junior gets by Lazy, but if he does, the wheels have come off.
Yeah, I mean, those are really astute takes. I think I can agree with those 100% in their own right. I think just the XBL's got a lot of pick'ems this season, and these brackets are going to be, in the end, probably completely different, just like we said about the AAA and the AA than what we're talking about here right now tonight. But this is the best part of the XBL. It's just getting to speculate and getting those games in and getting to watch them on prime time too, and in those big moments. And we're going to be bringing you tons of primetime games, especially now that we've got extra people in the booth, different producers and things like that in the mix. We're looking at featuring some early season playoffs, as well as the semifinals and some World Series, or all World Series for each league. So look forward to that. We're going to jump into the hot takes real quick before we leave you here tonight. These are something we're going to revisit from the beginning of the season as I flip the screen over for my colleagues one more time. And these were made by Uni, Hummus, Mist, myself, and Ox early on. And we can start with Uni's. We'll go from myself to him and then take it around the table real quick. The runs allowed for AAA was 4.9, not less than 4. Something made you think that in the beginning. Can you give us some insight?
Yeah, I think it was the cheaper junk and just the fact that some of the bats like Clutch and Zlat and Dynasty especially, and myself, I wasn't bad. I was probably above average. I figured with 4 of really like the top 6 or 7 bats leaving in AAA that you were going to see a dip, but then 2 of the rookies you see come in completely take our spot from the people that left in terms of run scoring, and then added on top of it with Short Steps and Billy, who really bumped that runs average. And then you had a Dynasty fill in with Snowbird pretty much. So yeah, I definitely had a bad take looking back on it. The rookies really impressed me, and the void that was there in terms of batting prowess in the AAA was filled instantly by people, and they actually I'm not sure what last year's was. They might have even went over that. If not, it had to be pretty on par. So yeah, bad take, but great job in the hitting, and AAA was really impressive and more than what I expected, obviously.
It's AAA, so let's take it over to Mist if he's got any background on this.
Yeah, I mean, I think everything Uni said is accurate. We lost so many bats. But Billy was really good, and then the other rookie there, I can't remember his name, but has hit really well. And then of course Snow, and even myself, and even Eddie kind of stepped it up. So, you know, people always fill in. You always think that, you always kind of overthink that this next season is going to be so much different, but it usually ends up being fairly similar.
Yeah, isn't that the case? Especially when, you know, in the background you've got the league office and especially Wishbone doing so much math to make things with that level of parity that we've come so used to, where things continue to be in a really nice offensive spectrum, but go up and down in just the slightest ways, and we can continue to tweak ever so slightly, and we'll probably do so again as we continue to move forward. Let's go to the next take where Zlat and I can kind of go over Hummus's AA. Winner of the AA goes into the playoffs round robin with a losing record. And I think tonight, it's safe to say that at least going into the quarterfinals, the AA's got some really interesting stuff going on with players with losing records. What do you think, Zlat?
Yeah, I think it's a great call for Hummus. Maybe he was also alluding a little bit to the ego calculator there. I could see that kind of playing into the take, but still a great call and a lot of excitement there out of the AA.
Yeah, two players currently going through into the round robin that have losing records in that Group B, the Paladins and the Pelicans, players that were the 10th and the 12th seed, and then you've got the 13th seed at 2-0, the Rockers. He's got 2 more games to play. The other seed who was below 8, or the other 2 seeds below 8, were the Falcons and the Beavers. The Falcons are at 1-1, the Beavers 0-3. Those two players don't have a chance, or the Beavers don't have a chance. The Falcons still could sneak their way in there alongside the Stampede. The AA looking to have a ton of parity, as we alluded to on this show. And that's just a really, really exciting group we've got there. Mystery Man and an XBL take here early in the season. That's Unicorn finishes at least 2 games above 500. We'll take it from Mist to Zlat and then Uni on this one so he can speak for himself. But Mist, sad face. What happened to our boy?
Don't take it easy on me, boys. Be honest.
Yep, bottom line made the playoffs, so I'm going to take half credit on that.
Absolutely.
No, I you know, it was tougher for Mr. Clutch. It was tougher for Dynasty. It was tougher for Unicorn than what we thought. I mean, the field, you know, there's some really well-known names, Luke and Weaver, and at least 2 or 3 others, GTM, that didn't play this season, that made it seem like maybe these really good AAA players could even go over 500, but unfortunately for them, people like M. Bennings and then the spokesman as a rookie, and then the improvement from Ox, and then Flash going off, you know, it was awfully tough to get W's.
What do you got, Zlat?
Yeah, it was definitely tough to get W's. I can attest to that.
Yeah, me too.
You know, glad I could throw Uni 2 wins, you know, throw him a bone, help him out. No, I'm just joking, but no, really proud of him, you know, moving on up from the AAA and makes his way into the playoffs. That's definitely an achievement to be proud of, so happy for him, and let's see what he can do against Pluto.
Yeah, I appreciated Miss take at the very beginning of the season. I'd be lying if I didn't say I was hoping for something like that and thought I could. Holy crap, dude. You get to the XBL and you're like, oh, it's just higher ego. It's not just higher ego. The dudes up here don't play around. It's actually ridiculous how good some of these guys are, so I don't see how anyone goes 2 games over 500. And I mean, I started off like 2-13 or something, and then I actually went 2 games above 500, I'm pretty sure, from weeks like 3 to 6. then towards the back end when I needed to clutch up, Mr. Clutch really put his hands around my throat and made me think my season was over and choked me out. But I got lucky with some tiebreakers and the Hobbs losing there late. But yeah, I appreciate the take, but made it to the playoffs. Luckily, next year I'll try to make that one come true, Mist.
That's it. Playoffs, baby.
Yeah, get in and just do your best and have a chance and, you know, play your game. I mean, it's just a lot of fun to win games at all in the XBL, and I can attest to that, having a few garbage seasons myself and also a few quite successful, 500 plus seasons myself. So it's a fun league to be in. It's a fun place to be, and Unis did a great job in his rookie season. We'll flip over to my hot take, where speaking of rookies in the XBL, we had 2 finishing in the top 8. I was wrong. But I already spoke about my man, Spaceman Spumoni. If anyone was about to do it, it was going to be him. And then there was a ton of other rookies, you had Uni up there, you had Clutch up there, you had Ty up there. Nobody else quite put it together this season to make it happen. But congratulations to Spaceman for at least carrying the torch. And we did get Uni and Spaceman into the playoffs, so like missed on the last one, I'm going to take half credit. And with that being said,
there you go.
Let's ask Zlot himself what his take would have been, or maybe if he's got one, I'm just off the rip for the upcoming playoffs that we could throw on here. Ox shouted that out in the chat. I figured why not throw that in here before we go over Ox's final AAA take.
Yeah, it's a fun one. It's a little unfair now that we have the the hindsight bias to take effect here. I guess I kind of am making a hot take with Mama winning it all. If we want to count that, I guess that'd be fun.
I do.
But
that definitely. Yeah. But you have another one?
I mean, I definitely agreed with Ox in the Snowbird AA gang pick. I believe Snowbird was showing a lot of success in the preseason scrims, and clearly, we know how that story has gone here in the regular season. So, good call by Ox, and I think that'll come to fruition.
Yeah, I mean, what a season from Snowbird. There's so much games to play in the AAA playoffs. Nobody's gotten their foot off the gate yet. Maybe after the series, we'll see some games here tonight. But yeah, well said. Thanks for throwing your hat in the ring as well with Mama winning it all. It's definitely possible here as we stand on the precipice of another great XBL playoffs, the 17th iteration here in our 6-year history. So with that being said, I mean, thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you to all my colleagues. Does anyone? I'll just go ahead and throw it to the dogs real quick. Any of you dogs got anything to say before we part here tonight?
I got something real quick here since we were just talking about these hot takes. The way I would look at AAA right now is I think Snowbird has the best chance of anybody to win it, but I think her chance of winning is less than 50%. So she is the front runner, but I think if anybody wins, it's an upset from the standpoint that I don't think anybody should be given 50% or higher in Vegas based on those folks. In the XBL, obviously Lazy's a pretty heavy favorite. Flash is up there. Again, there's six players up there that could easily win it. But looking at AAA, I love Snow. I think she has the best chance, but I don't think it's 50%. Maybe close to 38 to 40% at the most.
Love it. I mean, yeah, that's that AAA energy. That's that parity juice, Do we have anyone else with anything tonight?
I'll jump on the Mist since he's talking about AAA real quick. And what we didn't really talk about is people like Elron or Billy or Ricks, who are really middle to lower seeds, and they've got the skill to handle someone like Snowbird. And we saw Dynasty look super good in the AAA last year and then get swept out. So I think if it's anything that stands out to me, it's definitely the AAA's parity showing this season and the playoffs being a lot more wide open than it might look like with the way Snowbird has handled the regular season. If it's anything like last year's AAA, runs scored is not the biggest deal. It's pitching and it's veteran prowess. But there's a couple rookies lurking this season in AAA.
Yeah, all three leagues just have so much action to really go over and continue to watch. Like I said, there's going to be featured casts here coming up for you over the next week or two, as well as semifinals and World Series on the way. So if that's everything we've all got tonight, then everybody, you all have a safe and pleasant evening. Stay tuned Wednesday as well for the awards show, as we will have the Von Asen, the Long Ballo, the Rookie of the Year, the Most Improved Player, the Plays of the Week, and some special announcements to go along with that as well that you will not want to miss. So everybody, have a safe and pleasant Sunday evening and a great rest of your week. See you next time. Bye-bye.